Technology. Gotta love it. Hey, welcome to the second interview on the show. How you doing, Tiff?
Doing all right.
Good, good,
How are
good.
you?
Doing just dandy. I mean, we just caught up for a couple minutes that the crowd doesn't know about, but whatevs. Um, okay, so for everybody that's watching, I'm gonna use my phone again to look at some of these questions. So I'm gonna skip the how's 21 treating you because we just talked about that. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself, please? Like how you got to where you are and what you're doing?
So how I got to where I am. It's not really what I thought I'd be doing. I have, I'm going to skip forward from your questions about my degrees because that kind of prefaces into how I'm here. But I have a background in environmental and earth sciences. I have a bachelor's in just that from Michigan and a minor in oceanography. And then I have a master's in public administration from Columbia University with a focus on environmental science and policy.
Hmm.
So what I do now is I own and operate a small business in Adrian, Michigan called Downtown Dempsey's. It is a restaurant
A
that focuses
delicious
on,
restaurant. I absolutely love it.
thank you,
Yeah.
thanks. But it focuses on not only just using high quality ingredients, but it is focused on sustainable dining. So again, not exactly what I thought I'd be doing with my background, but it's been a very fruitful opportunity. Um, so it just sort of kind of fell into my lap when I got back from New York. I knew this woman who used to own this beloved family run restaurant in my hometown, and their recipes and their food was delicious. It was one of those little hole in the wall places that just had out of this world food. When the parents of that establishment passed, the daughter took it over, and some of the business side of things fell through the cracks. So it shut down, and that was probably, I think, like 10 years ago. So it's been gone for a while.
Mhm.
But in 2017, she came back from wherever she was, and that's how this sort of came into my lap. We knew her. I loved their food. My family loved their food, and we thought that this would be a great thing to bring back to our community. So, I mean, I had so much support growing up from my community through, 4-H and scholarships, and I just thought that this would be a great way to give back while I was in between and transitioning with my life. So we kept her family's recipes. We added some new ones, and I put my degrees to use, and we focused on sustainability and sustainable dining. So that's the short version
Nice.
of how I am and what I'm doing. And
Yeah, that's super cool. I didn't realize you minored in oceanography at Michigan. You've probably told me that a million times, but
probably not. I don't get to talk about it a lot in Michigan. So
that's fair. Okay. All right. So you had two degrees, one from Michigan, which you mentioned, one from Columbia, which you mentioned. Okay. So um, what is it about your business model that makes you sustainable? Like how, because I know there's something called ESG. I forget what it stands for, but essentially it's sustainable investing in the future. So what about your business gives you the sustainable name?
So we don't actually have any sort of like certifications or anything.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not going to pretend like we have some sort of like brilliant novel practices
Hmm.
that we came up with at Downtown Dempsey's, but they are all very easy and small practices that make sense both environmentally and financially that any business could do. Which is kind of the point, is that it doesn't take like a huge corporation to do the right thing. You can do it in your personal life or in your small business, anything. So for us specifically, waste, both in terms of packaging and food, are the biggest issues that we've tackled. The food industry is one of single-use waste everywhere you look, from the packaging that our products come in to the waste that's incurred from the preparation of food to from kitchen to table, to either the end result of takeout containers or like garnish garbage, I guess you could call
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But obviously the packaging of our products and the preparation of our foods are done so in a way that's sanitary, but it's inevitably wasteful. So that's something that we've tried to really look into and how we could improve, because almost everything that you use has to be thrown away after you use
Right.
it one time.
Yeah.
So when we opened, I did my research and found all the single-use products I could that are compostable. So all of our takeout containers and our silverware, sandwich paper, our straws, single-use food prep gloves, all of it is compostable.
Wow.
And I 100% expected these items to cost us an arm and a leg, but they were actually surprisingly comparable to the regular plastic and styrofoam products that you see in other restaurants. So that's one thing that we really focused on making sure that we have. And we let our customers know too, just so that they're aware that there are different choices that they can make when they're dining out. So another thing that we try to do is buy locally. That's a
Nice.
very easy thing for other places to do.
Yep.
We get most of our produce from local establishments like within our city, and then all of our meat products and our just like packaging products, anything else that we might need that's miscellaneous, that all comes from within like a 40-mile radius. So just trying to cut down on our carbon footprint a little more.
Yeah.
Another thing that we do is we recycle. Another thing that people can do.
Nice.
So we recycle all of our containers, and we urge our customers to use our clearly marked recycling bins, since we're kind of set up deli style. Some people clean up after themselves. So when they do, they're clear compartments.
There's a little
so they know
little PSA segment of the video.
In images, yes, for the people who cannot read as well. So we've got that going on, and then we also have like little tidbits of information on our walls by the entrance to subtly educate our patrons about the impact their choice to dine sustainably can have on the environment. So like one of my favorite things to say when people ask me, why are you doing this? Like, why does this matter? Because we've had some customers who are kind of confused about why this would, be something that we would need to do in a restaurant.
What do you mean I can't throw plastic into the ocean? Right? Doesn't that go
like,
there?
Well, that too, but like people like, why do you have paper straws?
Mm-hmm.
I say to put it in perspective to them. A 20-minute meal shouldn't leave behind something that lasts for a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And then that sort of helps them like, oh yeah, like the world is not all about me.
Sense.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that seems to resonate with people, but other people, they have had negative reactions to it. Not specifically the straws, but like,
yeah, in general.
Yeah, because they don't think that it's their responsibility to,
somebody else's problem. Yeah. Somebody else will handle it. Okay. The next question. So knowing what you know now and having 2 very advanced degrees, what would you recommend to other entrepreneurs out there? Do you think you took a pretty unconventional route? Like, could somebody do what you're doing without going to an Ivy League?
I can't make like a blanket statement for everyone or every aspiring entrepreneur, but I can say that my schooling has given me the tools to incorporate sustainability into my restaurant, but it's only like a part of running a business, and specifically my business. So I don't know that everyone really needs a master's in environmental policy to be doing what I'm doing, or a master's in general, but I also have a relatively small operation, and I've got people in my corner who are helping me with, my parents run a business and they've helped me a lot with, how to handle employee situations, how to handle different financial situations. So I have kind of a unique situation where I have, people in my corner. They're helping me out whenever I have questions about running a business. So I don't know. I guess my advice would be, I think if you have an idea of what you want to do and it doesn't require any formal certification or education, then absolutely go for it without spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on a piece of paper. So if later, you find yourself lacking in a certain area of your business, there are always individual classes or courses or seminars or whatever that you can use to fill in the blanks. So why put yourself behind financially? Just to say you have a degree if your entrepreneurial dreams don't require it.
Yep. Smarter every day. Look at that. All right. So we're at 7 minutes right now, and we have 2 more questions for you before we kick into the questions for everybody. So what were some of the hardships you had to overcome getting into the market that you're in right now? So like we were talking about with ESG, it definitely seems like energy and renewability and sustainability are the way of the future, especially for our generation and the next. So what were a couple initial hardships? Obviously, the one you're talking about now is people don't recognize or they don't appreciate the need to recycle, something that simple. So I don't know, what are some other ones that you've run into?
I'm going to be honest. It's really not that hard
Mm-hmm.
to live sustainably and operate sustainably. You just maybe have to look for it or keep asking your supplier, or I mean, that's for us, that's applies, but whoever you're working with business wise, like for sustainable options. Because when we started, one of our food suppliers didn't have, such and such, and that was really important to me. So I kept looking elsewhere. And the more that people request it, the more options you're going to have. So like right now, one of our food suppliers just came out with, they're like a very small operation, and they just came out with plant protein pizza toppings. Like that's a big step for them, especially as a smaller food service provider. Like it's just, we all have to keep working toward asking for what we want, and you can't just expect it to change without doing the work.
So but sounds like there's a limited market to support you right now.
Yes and no. A lot of the like sustainable packaging places are not as close to us as regular places.
Yeah.
But incorporating sustainability really isn't that hard into your business. Everything is competitively priced because the sustainable like packaging places, they know that they can't, make it fly with arm and a leg prices. Yep. So it's really not that hard. You just have to do the work and make sure that you're doing something that's actually sustainable, and just instead of just like falling into place and doing what's easy. Yeah,
and doing what everybody else is doing. That's awesome. Okay, good. So going forward, what are you looking to do from here? Like, what's the next step for you? I wrote in the question, haven't you won the game already? Like, you've got an Ivy League degree, you've got your own business, you're married. Like, what's next for you?
Yeah, I don't know if I would say that I've won the game. That's nice of you to say, but I wouldn't say that I've won anything. Owning a business, especially a newer restaurant, especially during COVID-19, there's always something to worry about. I mean, regulations and rules are always changing, and employees are always, doing things that maybe they shouldn't do that are COVID safe at times, and then you have to suspend them for a while. I don't know. There's always something.
Hypothetically.
But the ultimate goal is to have the restaurant sort of become this passive income for my family, and to be able to pursue a career in environmental policy, maybe somewhere other than Michigan. I would love to go somewhere that I can put my oceanography minor to use, and work toward, sustainable marine policy. That's the goal.
Nice.
But just to have,
just
to have the restaurant as something passive for me.
That's awesome. And then still continuing in the sustainability aspect of what you're talking about. That's cool. Okay, so questions that I ask everyone. So there's going to be a little more rapid fire. If you could summarize your life's purpose in one sentence, what would it be?
It's a little tough. I feel like a person's life purpose is kind of fluid because you can add to it all the time the more that you know. But I guess for now, generally, I would say that it's my life's purpose to leave things around me better than I found them, or at least the same. Worst case scenario. So, people, places, policies, that kind of thing.
Leave the world better than how you found it.
Yes.
That's okay.
At least don't do damage.
What did 10-year-old you want to become, and what would you say to her now?
Okay, so 10-year-old me wanted to be the female Indiana Jones.
Hey,
study
so
mummies, explore like caves, pyramids. That probably would have put me in like the archaeology, anthropology field. So what I would say to 10-year-old me now is, yes, just because your life isn't following the plan that you made as a 10-year-old doesn't mean that you're not fulfilling your life's purpose. Life shifts on you all the time. So be intentional with the situations that you're in and that you put yourself in, and you'll be all right.
That's awesome. Okay. If money were a non-issue right now, what would you be doing? You kind of mentioned it, but what would you say?
Traveling, 100% for sure.
Yeah.
I have a list of places to go on my phone that I need to start checking off slowly. But I love experiencing new cultures, foods, environments, you name it.
Yeah.
Whenever I travel, I feel like I'm on this little life high, and like I'm in a rom-com where there's quirky music playing in the background as I look out the plane window.
Maybe it's just the weird dude sitting behind you playing music out loud. I don't know. Okay,
perfect. My seat, but I love it. I need more of it. So.
Okay, on your normal daily routine, we've got 2-ish minutes left. On your normal daily routine, not including vacation or days off, when do you go to sleep and when do you wake up?
Okay, I'm not a morning person, so I only get up around like 7:45, 8 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And then I try to go to bed around 11 every night. But sometimes it's earlier, sometimes it's later. It
Nice.
just depends on the season and how tired I am, actually.
Yep. So you usually get 8 hours still. Nice.
Yes.
Okay, so what is one book you recommend to our readers and why? Or viewers now at this point?
Untamed by Glennon Doyle. It was a very popular quarantine read for people. It sort of fell in line with my advice to my 10-year-old self, actually. You know, the plans you make as a kid aren't necessarily what life's going to be like for you as an adult. So once you realize that there's no shame in living differently than how people expected you to, you'll be much more happy and you will be empowered.
Nice. Untamed. Okay, I'll definitely make note of that. Nope. If our readers have any questions, is that okay if they reach out to you or reach out to me? Okay. Is there anyone you think would be a good fit for an interview?
Well, you know, I'm a bit antisocial, so no one really comes to my mind. But I will keep thinking about it, and if I think of someone, then I'll let you know.
That's perfect. Okay, and then in 2 separate adjectives, can you please describe what it feels like to be living your best life?
Do you want me to describe it, or just tell you my adjectives?
You can just say the adjectives, and then you can describe it.
Being present, so present, and exultant. So.
Why are those your 2?
I just feel like you can't really enjoy your best life if you're not focused on what's in front of you. So that explains the present. And then exultant, just because, you know, if you're living your best life, then you are going to be super exhilarated, happy, proud, all of those, you know, positive emotions. And it sort of encompasses that one word. So
you are such an Ivy League graduate. Exultant. Who uses exultant in everyday conversation? Whatever. Awesome. Well, that concludes the interview. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And thank you so much, Tiff, for taking your time.
Absolutely.